We are on the verge of a global market tsunami. Yesterday, in a letter to House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said, "We still estimate that Treasury will likely no longer be able to satisfy all of the government's obligations if Congress had not acted to raise or suspend the debt limit by early June, and possibly as early as June 1st, which is 2 weeks from now." What could happen if U.S. government default? Global stock market likely crash. Global bond market going down. Commodity market, mostly base metal like copper or agricultural product, corn, soybean, likely going down. Gold price going up because risk going up. Crude oil price of demand. Unemployment rate going up. Inflation rate going down, and the likelihood of a recession very big. How bad is the U.S. government financial health? Take a look at the data provided by the Department of Treasury. National debt $31.46 trillion. Deficit, budget deficit, which is what the government spent versus what they made, $1.42 trillion. For the month April, the net income for government is $533 billion. How much gold the U.S. Treasury own? Only $11 billion, very little. How much money does the U.S. have on hand, which is how much money we had in the bank? 316 billion. Know that this is only 1% of the debt we owe. 1%. And the interest we pay average is 1.89% this year. So we don't even have enough money to pay the interest of the debt. New debt issue, very little because we are reaching the debt limit. And how much money do the government spend? 508 billion in the month April. If this represents an average month, that means 12 months a year we are going to have $6 trillion in budget. How bad is the whole financial picture? The left is the money we made from income tax, social security tax, corporate tax, and etc. And then on the right is how we spend our money: social security, health, income security, national defense. Know that the net interest is 364 billion for the 7 months this year. So we probably come up over 600 billion this year. And as the interest rate going up gradually, so we probably are going to have net interest closer to 900 billion next year. And so far for the 7 months, we already overspent almost $1 trillion. Look at April, which really telling because it's the tax month. Last year, we brought in $863.6 billion in April. This year, $638.5 billion, which is 225 billion less, almost 30% less. But our spending is more than last year. Right now, we are on a deficit ceiling standoff. But we also had a negotiation. The White House and the Congress start negotiating now. So I see there possibly three possible outcomes. One is they had a deal, raise the debt ceiling, so we push the problem off, kick the can for another 9 months or 12 months. or we don't have a deal in the next 2 weeks, then we go into default. And it possibly that they come up with something, particularly President Biden come up with a temporary fix for the next month or two to temporarily fix that. That's another problem. And they will work for a more permanent deal in the next few months. So how the bond investor view the market? We see the 10-year Treasury since the Fed rate high started last March is been going down. Probably 15% also went down. So we represent the worry the market had. And look at the credit default swap to ensure that the US government will pay their debt is almost 200 basis points to ensure. And this is very significant. You probably only made about 350 basis points on this debt, but you're paying 180, half of them as insurance, just in case the government won't be able to pay you. How about the stock investor? We see that the NASDAQ actually had a 24% return so far up to yesterday, year to date. And the S&P had 7.5% gain. And then the Dow is flat. And during the last 4.5 months, we had a lot of bank failure. Silicon Valley, Signature Bank, First Republic, and Credit Suisse. But no matter, investors are very happy. So this is the topic today. You can follow me on Twitter, Jim Huang, CFA, and I write most of my writing on tradingview.com. My username is Jim Huang Chicago, or you can also watch my video on YouTube, Wall Street Farmer channel, and on YouTube and also on TradingView. We had an interview by the TradingView show 2 weeks ago. This is called the Banking Crisis Deep Dive with Jim Huang. So you can either find it on YouTube or on TradingView. Thank you very much. I will talk to you next.